All right, let's go. Welcome to episode number 5, and it's all about Valentine's Day. So, if you're anything like me, you're going into this Valentine's Day feeling kind of lonely. And I don't know about you, but this will be my third Valentine's Day in a row without a plan to spend it with someone special with loving hugs and kisses. And by the way, my name's Tom Miller, and I'm on a mission to help alleviate suffering and just empower joy, all by aligning with our true selves and getting the ogres that are working against us to help us and work for us to become our champions. So let's dig in. In this episode, I'm going to talk about loneliness, why it sucks so bad, and more importantly, I'm going to give you a solution to never go through another Valentine's Day again feeling lonely. I call it the Ogre Impact or the Ogre Method. We'll get to that in a bit. So here, when I type this into ChatGPT, loneliness is one of the biggest causes in 2025, not only mental health, but it's influencing physical health. Prolonged loneliness increases inflammation, which can lead to heart disease, diabetes, and stroke. Plus, it feels like crap. Like there's mental illnesses that are directly associated with loneliness, like depression, anxiety, PTSD, OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, BPD, borderline personality disorder, schizophrenia, addiction, and substance abuse. Ooh. And dementia, cognitive decline. Like loneliness hurts our brain, drives us to partake in negative habits to numb ourselves. I mean, if you're watching this video, you probably already know. I don't have to tell you. Loneliness sucks. It feels bad. And you know what? It's kind of embarrassing. We go through all these stories like, why isn't anyone reaching out to me? Why doesn't anyone call me? Why doesn't anyone want to go out with me? Why doesn't anyone want to hang out with me? Is it I'm too old? I don't have enough money. I've messed up too many times. I don't live in a nice enough house. My hair is receding. Maybe it's this yellow spot on my tooth that won't go away. It could be maybe I'm just giving out a negative vibe. Maybe my ex relationship was the best I could ever do and I blew that, so I don't get another chance. Maybe I've messed up so much I'm being punished. I mean, there's all these stories, but they're just stories. If we told ourselves that story long enough, it becomes a belief. And what we believe determines what we perceive. So, in my experience, I've spent the last 3 years determined to find someone better than my ex wife, more lively, more supportive, more loving, more affectionate, more spiritually aligned, more intellectually aligned, and if I'm being honest, better looking than her too. But that's what I wanted. That's what I went looking for. That's what I expected. Hasn't come. And there's one reason why. You're looking at him. It's me. So if you are feeling lonely this Valentine's Day, odds are you felt lonely last week and the week before and the week after that. Maybe you haven't been in a relationship for a long time. Maybe you just had a breakup. Maybe the relationship you're in currently, it's just like a routine and you still feel lonely. Loneliness is an epidemic, but we don't have to be part of it. We can decide to change that starting now. Maybe you're looking at it from the perspective of, hey, yeah, I'm alone this Valentine's Day, but I'm choosing to spend Valentine's Day alone. Okay. But you're not choosing to feel lonely because that would go against your human wiring. Humans are energetic beings. Like we're a series of energetic systems. And one of them is our relational energy system. You already know you have a mental energy system. We think, we plan, we figure things out with our brain. You know, physical energy system. We eat food, we have energy, we exercise, we move around, or we don't exercise and we get fat. So physical, mental, emotional energy system. Emotions are energy in motion, and they have a current through our body, and they actually impact us, mostly in the subconscious part of our body and brain. But then level 4 is the relational energy system. That's a combination of our emotions, our thinking, and the energetic attraction, magneticism we have pulling people towards us or repelling people and attracting life situations and other people into our space. It's a deal. Science verifies this relational energy system. So I know for certain over these last 3 years, my relational energy system has been entitled, desperate, wanting, lacking. I've been embarrassed about it. I've gone on many dates, about 15. Two of them were really, really awesome, but they didn't turn into relationships. They didn't turn into that Valentine's Day, let's hug, kiss, and enjoy the way we feel around each other type of relationship. Even if you don't want a relationship, I assure you, you don't want to feel lonely. It makes us sick mentally and physically and makes us die sooner. You can just Google that for yourself. So let's just assume that no one wants to feel lonely because feeling lonely feels unpleasant. Okay, we can start there. So, but maybe you don't want to be in a relationship. Fair enough. Maybe you don't, maybe you do want to be in a relationship though, but you just haven't found the right person yet. Or maybe you do want to be in a relationship, but you're not ready yet. All those are stories. Whatever you decide with your relationship status, I want to help you change your energetic state. That's what I'm working on, and that's what I'll be working on from today through this Valentine's Day and beyond. And I am very confident that next Valentine's Day will feel much different than this one. Since starting this process, I don't feel lonely. I don't. I don't have the outside evidence yet, but I don't feel lonely. I'm pretty clear that I'm alone, unless you count my dog Rocket, but I'm not feeling lonely. And this is what I did. First, realize that all the stories, I'm not good enough, I'm not good looking enough, I've blown it so many times, those are all stories. And trying to figure out what's going on. Why don't they like me? Am I not worthy? Am I not lovable? All stories. And those stories exist in our subconscious. And most of them are seated in our, what Carl Jung calls our shadow self. Here's what I want to point out. Your shadow self, my shadow self, the subconscious, deeply rooted beliefs we have about ourselves and our life are not permanent or fixed. But if they've been around for a long time, they're definitely familiar. And we start taking them as the way things are. We can change what we believe when we decide to. So number one, decide. Number one is decide. But before you decide, ask yourself, how do you want to feel? I want to feel peaceful, loving, joyful, excited, and feel like I'm having what I need, what I want, what I desire. And part of that is a relationship of love. And we all know that that starts with loving life and loving our true self. But decide, how do you want to feel? Decide, how does your life situation, life experience look in order for you to feel that way? After you get clear on that, make the decision and declare it. And say it in the present tense. I am deciding to love unconditionally and fearlessly. I'm deciding to receive love unconditionally and fearlessly. That's it. I'm deciding to create a life experience full of love in a healthy, spiritually connected relationship. Those are my decisions. So I'm deciding to feel love, and I'm deciding to create a life situation that includes love in a relationship setting. I'm choosing to have a relationship that's full of fearless, unconditional love. I decided. I declare that decision. I'm deciding to be in a loving relationship. Boom, decision made. That's number one. Number two is what I just did. Declare it out loud, write it down. It's not a goal, it's a decision. Because when we decide something, it's way more powerful than setting a goal. It's very in line with manifesting. It's different than wanting. Oh, wanting and lacking, want and lack, completely connected. And that's the opposite energy frequency. Deciding is a powerful energy state. And when you decide something, the universe starts working in your favor, starts cooperating and conspiring to help you get it. Decide it, declare it. Now align your thoughts, your emotions, your beliefs, and your actions with that decision. Now here's the thing. If it was that easy, everyone would do it and everyone would be happy. There'd be no loneliness. Everyone would be wealthy, healthy, wise, and in love. So I've created something called the Ogre Method. It's taking all the psychological and neuroscience I've learned and making it very simple. Identify the core beliefs that are resisting your decision. Maybe it's I'm not good enough. Maybe it's I'm not worthy of being loved. Maybe it's I've been hurt so much. Obviously, there's something wrong with me. Okay, we all have them. They're there. Let's call these beliefs in your subconscious, your shadow self, let's call them your ogres. And let's say you have the ogre that's saying, I'm not good enough. Okay, embrace your inner ogre. Embrace it. Realize that that ogre was created at some point in our lives to keep us safe, to protect us. It thought it was helping us. And it's been pushed down in this dungeon of our subconscious mind for years. Oh, it comes out sometimes when we least expect it. And our self-sabotaging and the way we react, the way we think about ourselves, the way we sell ourselves short, play small. It's been there. It's always been there. But like Carl Jung says, until we bring what's in the darkness into the light, it's going to show up and make our lives miserable, and we'll call it destiny or fate. It's not. It's this energy mental structure called a subconscious belief that has happened and occurred and run the process so many times that it becomes also wired in our default brain network. So it becomes an automatic default reaction emotionally and sometimes with our outer physical actions. It's not true, but it is what is guiding you and me. So by the way, this isn't just me researching in science. This is first how I got through my addictive habits, and now it's what I'm using to get through my feeling of lack when it comes to relationships. So I'm sharing it with you because it can help you too. At least I hope so. So embrace the inner ogre. And next is called ogre alchemy. Remember, that ogre is a real thing. It's not going away. So instead of fighting with it or trying to lock it in the dungeon, embrace it and transmute it into the opposite. You're rewriting that ogre's job description. I'm scared of being hurt, so I am going to play small. What's the opposite? I have the courage to be my true self. So you actually rewrite the job description of that ogre, and it now becomes your true self ogre. I have visualized whenever I start going into an old program, an old way of thinking or feeling, I visualize this new ogre, this ogre champion, grabbing me and lifting me up and reminding me of what's right and true and what's aligned with my decision. And it does it all the time. As soon as I start going down that familiar program, that familiar way of thinking and feeling, I remember the ogre and I visualize it lifting me up and reminding me of its new job description. And all I did was align my inner ogre, with truth. And that truth's aligned with my decision. And my decisions align with my true desire and my true self. And it gets woohoo now, because now we're getting higher powers involved. But I just imagine this ogre lifting me up, picking me back up, and I'm back into alignment. It works faster than anything I've done. And I've done a lot. I've done hypnotherapy, years of therapy. I've done medicated drugs. I've done non-prescription drugs. Done a lot. And nothing has worked faster than this. Now that we have a new job description for our inner ogre, we align with that and we allow. Because every time we start slipping into that familiar negative program, negative belief, and we allow our inner ogre to lift us up, we create space to allow new information, new energetics, and new opportunities. We'll get assistance in time we didn't even realize it was coming. And we will intuitively know what actions to take. This is happening right now in my life. And I will keep reporting on how it's working. One is the way I feel. Two is that I have the courage to share this experience to help others. And three is I already feel as if I'm in this loving relationship. And I definitely learned, with the help of my inner ogres lifting me up, the feeling of loving, the looking in the mirror and saying, I love you, thank you. It feels better to be alive for me today than it did last year, the year before, or the year before that. So after you rewrite the job description of your inner ogre, align, allow, take intuitive action, and then appreciate. Recognize and appreciate whenever something feels good. Because your feelings that you want become your intentions. Everything we do in life is because we're going after a certain feeling. We want to feel good. Sometimes we chase to feel good, but we can decide to feel a certain way and practice feeling that way. And whenever the outside world gives us evidence, appreciate it and feel that good feeling, anchor it in just by appreciating it. And then here's where faith comes in. Okay, I'm doing all these things, and I don't have any physical evidence. Then faithfully persist and if you're not getting the physical evidence yet, it's because your inner ogre is still blocking it. It's still in the dungeon. Because your subconscious is like the receiving ground of all these energetics. It's where it happens. Because if your subconscious is all clogged and blocked up by these ogres of the past that have been stuck in the dungeon, that you haven't brought into the light and hugged them and embraced them and turned them around and turned them into something new, they're still blocking this higher intelligence. They're blocking this higher level of vibration and energetics. So embrace the ogre. Bring it up and hug it. Love your ogre. So on this Valentine's Day and every day, instead of feeling lonely, get into that dungeon, pull the ogres out, bring them into the light, embrace them, and actually turn them around. By the law of polarity, if that inner ogre has been around for years and it's been telling you that you're not good enough for all these years, the law of polarity, the opposite is also true. You can literally rewrite that ogre's job description to say, you are worthy of all love and light and love and light and love and life. You are worthy of all you desire. You are worthy to feel joy and peace right now. You are worthy to have the type of love that you're willing to give. We can only get what we give. Law of reciprocation. These are universal laws that apply to everything. They're like physics. There's like algorithms for each one of them. And here's a big one. What you desire plus allowing with non-resistance equals desire fulfilled. And the resistance that stops us from allowing it are the ogres locked in the dungeon. Let's pull the ogres out of the dungeon one at a time and love them, embrace them this Valentine's Day, and rewrite their job description So now our ogres become our champions on Valentine's Day, after Valentine's Day, and we will see our lives change right before our eyes. And it all starts with the way we decide to feel and what we decide to experience in life. Decide, declare that decision, and then embrace your inner ogres. Then you're simply going to ask, align, allow, appreciate. And when you're allowing, the intuitive actions will become clear. I hope this helps you. Every time we decide to align with our ogre champion instead of our old ogre locked in the dungeon, our shadow self, it's a champion moment. We get to decide. So deciding once isn't enough. Deciding throughout the day, declaring your decision throughout the day. I am deciding to love and be loved. I have more decisions. I am deciding to have financial abundance. I'm deciding to enroll one person in my job at least every day. And guess what? The pieces, the parts, the opportunities are falling into place. Deciding is your power. Once again, I'm Tom Miller. I've before your eyes creating something called the Ogre Method, a way to realign and decide to get what we want in life instead of suffering. Maybe my tagline. And if you got some value out of this, share it with someone else who'll get some value out of it. What pumps me up is when people resonate with this energy I'm sending out and they're able to share it with someone else. And I truly feel like the purpose I'm putting out there is to help others is landing. So let's help each other. Let's share the Ogre Method. I think that's a new one. The Ogre Method. Let's become our own champions. And you, just by watching this video and deciding to elevate your level of consciousness, you're my champion. Lots of love, lots of light. Let's love our lives and love our light. Let's share that light and love with others. Let's love our ogres. Let's turn our ogres into champions.